Hello, my loves, and welcome. Welcome to the cosmic tribute of 2/22/22 as we step into the new area of transition and warmth and achieving with this cosmic energy of the angel number, spirit number, cosmic energy, astrological events, light beams, star seeds, whatever you want to call it. Thank you for coming and thank you for purchasing your package. This is the collective reading that is centered off of transformation and transition. As many of you know, we have the return of Pluto today of 2/22/22, and we are going to clear our energy of fear, and we are going to clear our energy of anxiety and clear our energy of what is not holding space for us. This is a 3-card read, and it is centered off of the return of Pluto and also the divine state of 2/22/22. And for those who have purchased your packet, this is your second step. So today's reading will be based off the Zodiac elements, and the cards that I will be using is from the Light Seers Tarot deck and also Black Moon Astrology for the intention cards. And remember, we will be pulling for all 4 zodiac elements. This reading is to be held with nothing but pure divine love and magic, and also intentions for transitions and transformations as we come a part of the return of Pluto. For those who don't know, Pluto is the smallest and outermost planet. He has not been in the U.S. territory or solar system in the last 2.5 centuries. It has been over 240 years since he has been present. So we are going to first start with the beautiful fire signs. And the first card we have for the fire signs is the 6 of Wands. The second card we have is King of Knights, or Knight of Wands, I'm sorry. King of Knights, I'm making up my own tarot deck. Knight of Wands, and the Page of Cups. So here we go. So for your first card in the 6 of Wands, we're seeing that we're stepping into our leadership. We're stepping into our transformation of what can possibly be holding us, what is definitely possibly holding us in new directions. As I look at this card, I see a leader, I see guidance. And when we're using this towards transformation, we want to step forward with the Knight of Wands. And what the Knight of Wands really shows me with this balance is we might be feeling a little uncertain on some of our decisions, as we see here in the Page of Cups. But we are really our own leader in our magic. We are really our own leader in our focus. So I'm feeling right now for the fire signs, this might be some area where you're feeling a little baffled. You might be dealing with some emotions, some areas where you don't really necessarily understand what is next. And when we look at the Page of Cups and we start to think about what is the bigger picture? What is the transition that's not only leading us, but leading many other people? Sometimes we might start to get very unfocused in this area right here, our divine state, our personal state, our energy state. And we start to get a little baffled and a little bit off center. And when this happens, really take time to sit with self, because right here in the Page of Cups, it may not seem like it, but you really control your own destiny. Even the stuff that you thought was impossible, like for instance, you know, you have that, well, I will never start a business. I'm not that, I don't have that much structure, or I don't have that much calling, or, you know, that would happen when pigs fly, you know, that old saying. But really, in actuality, you do have right here, it really shows that you do have that. You do have that guidance with the Knight of Wands. You see a lot of passion right here. You see a lot of fortune right here and magic. And what the Knight of Wands really creates is somebody who is fully functioning in their intentions and in their intuition, in creating that magic and creating that passion. So this is a very strong read for the fire signs to take in that energy, take in that placement, take in that purpose of what is to come in some new areas, some areas that you might not necessarily have been so focused on, some areas that you almost want to like slip away from. Sometimes that happens to us as we are coming up in new transitions, and we feel this lost card. We feel how we're just lost right here. But let's take away the loss. Let's take it away. Take away that feeling, right? That feeling's not serving us, to always be questioning our decisions, and really work through the packet that I provided for you to trust your decisions, especially related with your crown and your third eye chakra. And then here we go right here, the Knight of Wands. It's that giving that trust back, giving it back to ourselves and moving forward with it. And that's really what I want to see from the fire signs, is giving that trust, that passion. That passion is calling you. It's really calling you. So seek it. Move forward with it. Take the transformation. And then also Six of Wands. You are the leader. You are the one who can create that. You create that celebration. You create that journey. You just have to have more faith in your own purpose, in your own area of where you can create, of what you will create, and how you can create it all. And those are some amazing cards for the fire signs. And now we are going to move towards your intention card. And for those who have just purchased a packet from me for the first time, because there was a few of you who have never purchased a packet from me, or have been part of my reading groups, or was a reader, or listen to a reading in many of my collective groups. An intentions card is where we want to center our intentions during this transition, where we want to center our focus. It's to be as a guide on our next steps, okay? So our intention card right here, and it's funny, it pulled up a Leo for the fire signs, is I will. And when we look at this card, we see the divine state of the guide, right? We also see the divine state of the solar plex, that golden, bright yellow energy, and that state of courage. And that's really what it balances out to. Sometimes we aren't set in our courageous energy. We aren't set in our brave energy, which leads us to feel that our powers are diminished, but really our willpower is very strong, as you can see, as it's shining through the light with this card. It's very strong, high energy. And we have that willpower, right? We most definitely have that willpower to achieve, to bring more. So that is what I want the fire signs to concentrate on when they are setting and seeking their transitions towards transformation or transition. It's not to put the I should, I can, I hope, I will. Already speak it like it's already happening. I will start that tomorrow, and put it in your schedule. take time to address it. And that is for the fire signs. So that is an amazing read for the fire signs. And we are actually going to move on to the next zodiac element, which is the water signs. So for those who are new to my readings and my packages, the water signs are really, really fun bunch. I love all my water sign clients. They've really been in this area where they've been kind of flowing through life and feeling very lucky. We had the new we had the new transition, which is still actually current, where we have Jupiter in Pisces, and then we also had the full moon in Leo, which was the embracing of Pisces season. So we are seeing a lot of transition with the water signs, and a lot of area where they're kind of flowing on through this magic of abundance and luck. So for the fire signs, definitely keep for the water signs, definitely keep that luck and that energy flowing as we plan to do for the next year of 2022. But we are going to be concentrating on the portal right now, and the portal of cosmic energy and also the astrological event of Pluto return are two different events. They're two different things. So they're not actually combined as one, as some people might think. They aren't. They're actually two separate things. Astrologers are totally focused on the Pluto return, and probably not that focused on the 222 meaning, but for many of us, we are focused on both. And here we go for the first card for the water signs. We have the Queen of Pentacles, perfect, and then we have the Ace of Wands. And for these readings, I'm not concentrating on reading in reverse because I know I have some new people who are listening to this and watching this who may have not seen many readings before. And then we have the Queen of Swords. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That is one hell of a draw. That is one hell of a reading right there. That is, I would have to say, one of the most powerful readings I've seen in a very long time. Okay, we have three major cards, three major energies in this space for the water signs, and I'm not surprised as it is Pisces season. We have the Queen of Pentacles, and when we are thinking about this upcoming event with the 22 portal, and also with the return of Pluto. Right here, I'm seeing a lot of change with wealth, with money, with income, with source, with sustainability, with purpose. Stepping into that independence of making your own decisions when it comes to your financial state, especially as a woman. If you're a woman right now listening to this, watching this reading, step into it, own it. If you're ready to invest in something, if you're ready to purchase something that you feel you're drawn to, that you have a passion for, that you see a foundation in, that you know your earth state can really take in. And this is for the water signs, but I mean your earth state by your earth prosperity, your earth stability, and your earth sustainability. I'm going to say go for it, right? For the water signs right now. This is a power player card. This is a real mover. This is somebody who's focused on the green area, the heart chakra, the money, the abundance. It's coming so nicely. And then we have the Ace of Wands, which with the Ace of Wands, some people, when they see this card, they almost feel like baffled. But what this really resembles is this right here. The higher meaning, the higher purpose of trusting your intuition, like many of us are so seeking to do. Many of us are seeking that transformation as we step into that guide. And while many of us seek guides and we seek mentorship and coaching and strategy-based practices and rituals, it's because it helps us form a formulation of a plan. But really, our intuition is our biggest guide. Our tuition is our biggest center of what is right for us, what is meaningful for us, and what can bring us in the right area. And then we have the Queen of Swords. The Queen of Swords reminds me of such a leader, such a magnificent, independent queen, because she is a queen, right? And you can see that she's very high on her voyage. Some might feel intimidated when you step into these roles because it looks like you have many roles that you are stepping into when you step into this role of leadership. Some might feel intimidated, right? It's not something they're used to, of you picking up that step of being a leader, of you picking up that wisdom of saying what's working for you, what's working for your relationship, what's working for your business. They're not used to that leadership role, but you're really going to own it. You have a big journey ahead of you, a big voyage. And that is an amazing read for the water signs. And when we are using this towards transformation, a lot of it has to do with the main focuses that we've been concentrating on with the packet. And as we see, we have right here our stability, our foundation, our earth state of heart, wealth, and abundance. And then we also have the intuition and what's meaningful to us and what really matters. And then we step into our leadership, right? And with this energy of Pluto and returning back, we're going to see some dynamics with the leadership. Some things need to change, right? Some things aren't really transitioning as probably people thought they would back in 1776 when the Declaration of Independence was signed. Maybe it's not working for everybody. Maybe it's not in the right area. So now we're going to move and see some different change. And look what card came up. That's freaking amazing. Pluto. So I'm feeling a strong energy right now for the water signs. Transformation. And that's what Pluto is about. Pluto is about transformation, the rebirth, the closing of a chapter, the intimacy, the enlightenment, the center being of being the furthest away, the smallest, but yet having a divine state. Most of the times when other planets were in conjunction with Pluto, like Uranus, there was some dynamics. There was really transformation and transition, not only with people and communities, but also with people on a solar level, on a personal level, on a cosmic level. So step into that transformation, whatever it is. If it's starting a new business, if it's starting a new book, if it's going back to school, starting a family. Transformation means taking on a new role, as we see right here in the leader of the Queen of Swords. Trusting your process and creating that foundation with abundance. And that is for the beautiful, beautiful water signs. And now we will move on to the air signs and to the earth signs. And I just want to remind everybody who has purchased the packet, if you have not learned about the chakra system, if it's something that's new to you, I want you to check out Chakras and Cuss Words podcast. and also the chakra series, which is here on this channel. And that's why I link it all together, is so it's easy for you to find it. So if you have questions about balancing your chakras, what is a chakra? What does each chakra mean? You can go back to the chakras playlist and really find out more, especially if you are consider yourself a beginner in the philosophy. It's a beautiful philosophy, and it's a beautiful practice of energy work and balancing out what is working for one person might not always be working for another, and what is moving forward might not always be moving forward for another. And here are some cards that popped out. So I'm going to keep those, and then I'm going to pull one. And let's start the reading for the earth signs. Okay. Perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Okay, so the first card we have is the Six of Swords, and actually it was this order, the Six of Swords. And as you can see, this kind of looks like very intimate. And what the Six of Swords really means is transformation and moving forward from a journey that did have some shadow, right? It did have some heartbreak. It did have some guidance where you were misled, okay? And then we have the Death card, the Rebirth card. And this, in actuality, don't be like, oh my goodness, because I get this all the time from everybody that does a reading. Don't freak out with the Death card. The Death card is centered on rebirth, transition, transformation. So this area that we were led in, this area that we were set to believe was a voyage that we were meant to be on because of whatever reasons that left us hurt as an earth sign, that left us betrayed, left us a little lost. We're going to close that chapter, okay? We really need to close that chapter. And this is where we're going to do it, with the return of Pluto. And this is what Pluto also resembles, is not only transformation, but the closing of a chapter, the closing of a space. Maybe we're in the grief space. Maybe we're in the rebirth space, where we realize that relationship, that area wasn't working for us. It's no longer holding value, and we have to let it go. So while the earth signs are feeling this area of maybe they're feeling a little lost or not as balanced as they were, where we're going to want to set our intentions is seeing the shadow for what it was, okay? Seeing the message for what we learned, and let it go. Let it fly away like those birds, right? Let it have its own voyage. It's done. We can't hold space in it anymore because we have closed that chapter and we have focused on our rebirth, which is the star. And when we think of this, the star and this message right here comes from an area where I feel that some earth signs have had to transition from grief, from feeling loss. And when we are transitioning from that, we have to look at the light, right? Because we can't always hold our space in this area that feels dark or gloomy. We have to transition back to the star. And what is the star? It's a vessel of light. It's a vessel of being. We wish upon a star. We seek guidance in the star. The star brings us to new pathways. The star brings us home. Okay, so when we're on this area, don't hesitate to embrace the star, to embrace the universe, to embrace the cosmic energy, to embrace the lighthood. Because while everything might feel dark and cold, there's still a star being outside. There's still a star beam. There's still a star seed. There's still a star light. There's still a star energy. So have focus on that. Bring it back into you with gratitude. I know so many people, when we were focusing on the energy of the shadow, and we're focusing on the energy of the loss and the balance. We hate to use gratitude sometimes, right? Gratitude seems so hard. Like, how can I be grateful for this transition? And it's not necessarily the transition that you have to be grateful for. It is for what you still have, the surrounding areas you still have, the wind when it hits your face, right? Sometimes we feel like we are just drowning in substance of noise that doesn't really matter. And then we go outside and we feel something as pure as the wind hitting our face. And it brings us back to that reassurance, the alchemy of life, the energy of what we hold. So step into that energy of purity and divine for the earth signs, and I will be pulling an intention card. And remember, it takes time to heal. It takes time to release. It takes time to transition. And that's why a lot of us are very focused on this transformation with Pluto coming back, because we're hoping for transformation in many areas of guidance and light. And for our intention card, Jupiter returns, benefits. And this card really makes me see the enlightenment of the intuition and the enlightenment of that guide that is related to the crown, related to the upper area chakras, the ones that you are concentrating on. And when Jupiter returns, Jupiter is known as one of the luckiest planets. It's known as the planet of abundance. It's known as the area of abundance. But sometimes we have to go back to this area of hurt and sadness because we have to release it. We haven't fully released it. And see the benefits of it, that when it awakens you to see a transformation that you can bring forward for yourself, and how to let go of that area. And as you see, this card does look very almost like it has some grief towards it. So it makes me feel that some of the earth signs who are reading this are probably releasing tonight, right? And that's what you have in your packet, is when you release, because not everything is centered off of intentions and manifestations, but when we release, to do it with love, because the luck and the abundance will return even when we don't see it. We don't see the benefits, right? So hold that to you to release tonight. And that is for the earth signs. And we are going to move on to actually the last one, which is the air signs. And remember to trust your processes, and this is for all of the zodiac elements, not just the earth signs, but to really trust your process in healing, and trust your process in releasing, and trust your process in area of formulation. A lot of us are focused on what's good the here and now, and what's good for one might not necessarily be good for everybody. And that's so true, right? Like, it might be beneficial for one person, but it's not necessarily beneficial for the other. Some people are in a different area as us. Some people are in a different element as us, and they have a different journey than the journey that we just had. So if they are all centered on the same journey, and we are all centered on the same aspect, are we really working in our divine state? No. And our divine state at the moment is not necessarily our divine state for a lifetime, okay? We transition, we change, right? Some of us may have thought of, having this dream job or having this dream marriage or whatever, and it turns out to be something totally different than what we thought it was. And we're just moving in the motions, and we're not in our divine state right now, right? And how are we going to get back to our divine state? How are we going to get back to the energy that is focused on what's to come, right? What's to come for many of us. And I want to get a good shuffle in. I need to get a new deck. I have another deck that I probably should sometimes bring out more frequently, but I really love the illustrations on the Light Seers Tarot. It has some beautiful colors and magnificent practices and features. And then we have the Star again. High energy card. Okay. And then one more. Perfect. And this is for the air signs. Okay. For the air signs, I really want you to be concentrated on the stability of working what's further in your path, as we see right here with the Seven of Pentacles. What this is really screaming to me is getting out the grounding, getting out the stability, getting out that strategy of what is right for you. And while we are working on transformation at this time, it could be something as simple as drinking more water a day. Drinking more water a day has more benefits. It has more livelihood. It could also be something as simple as reading a couple pages out of an affirmation book or reading a couple affirmation cards. But what it's really showing me is that there's more energy for you to grow in. There's a lot of energy for you to actually move forward in. You just have to kind of create those roots with abundance and stability. The roots are still kind of like in this growing form. They're not really fully grown, which makes me think that with this, you have a lot of light energy, as we see again with the Star. The Star card definitely resembles that enlightenment, that luck, that gratitude, that purpose, that enlightenment in the light of guidance and pathways and virtue and fortune. And how are we going to bring it towards our transformation? Because that's what we're here to do with this 222 portal, and also with the Return of Pluto. We're here to transform. We're here to trust our intuition, to release our shadow areas that don't longer serve us. So we're going to hold this card in the enlightenment space, in the journey space, in the wisdom space. We're going to give it back to ourselves to trust this process. As we can see that the air signs are really growing. They're really growing. I'm feeling a lot of energy really with the growth process right now. That a lot of energies are in this big wind element. For the air signs, they're in this growing air, element. They are really testing the trees, right? They're testing the trees to see, are your roots really that stable? Are they really that strong? Do they move that forward in purpose? So for the air signs, I really want you to hold that value of the structure of your element, that you can test others, but you have to test your own roots. You have to test your own stability. You have to test your own growth. Especially if you're bringing in transition and transformation with this 222 portal, and you're also bringing in growth and transition with the return of Pluto, of the shadow, of the transformation, of the leader, the small but mighty leader, right? Of the structure that he brings. And then we have the Ten of Cups. And what the Ten of Cups is really showing me is right here, while we are sitting in our solo space, right? These cards right here show me that it's a very much almost like a solo energy. But then right here, this is what this is showing me, is that we are seeking more for the air signs. The air signs are seeking more. We are seeking that companionship, that friendship, that sisterhood, that community, that collective area. We're seeing the areas of what we once saw as a child in play. The Ten of Cups is leaving us with very many decisions of where do we go next. And as we are transitioning, what this is showing me is that we're going to want to bring it back to what made us feel the safest, the happiest, and the most joyful in this section of child. Okay? In this section of area of pure divine state. And when we talk about the child and we talk about healing the inner child wounds, healing and releasing areas that might be stopping us from living in these two states, it comes back to companionship, to friendship, to maybe guidance, collaboration. Who is it that we can go to that we were able to go to back then? Who is it that we can reach out to that we feel safe like we did back then? Who is it that we can, maybe we need to lend a shoulder to, or maybe we need to cry on a shoulder. Who is it? Who is that person? And when we are thinking about transformation and transition as an air sign, I'm going to say I want you to use your element and speak it out loud. Speak it out loud with your throat, right? With your core message, with your divine message. Use that air element to really make it what it is. Use that air element to really make it what it's worth. To own that state. To own that transition. To own that growth. To own that enlightenment. To own that decision. And that is for the air signs. And for your intention card for the air signs, we will be pulling again another oracle card. And we have, I accidentally pulled two, but the first card I see is Grand Trine, blessing. Big blessings are coming. And when you think of it, look, the trine represents 3. What this really resembles is when 3 planets are lined up, because this is an astrology deck. So what this really resembles is when the 3 planets, whatever planets it may be, are lined up and they're creating this trine, right? They're creating this triangle. Each thing resembles one thing, right? They each have their own meaning. They each have their own purpose. And when we get this, it creates energy. It creates blessings. It creates gratitude. It creates abundance. It creates magic. So look at these as your 3. Your 3 triangle, right? Your growth state, your enlightenment state, your collective state. And as an air sign, that is your blessing. That is your trine. That is your area. So that is the reading for the air signs. And I want to thank everybody again who purchased the packet, who has purchased the Cosmic Tribute. Thank you so much. It means the world to me to have you guys receive energy that I deliver through nothing but blessings and love. And until next time, have an amazing day, and you will now continue on to your sound energy.